You can speak clearly, you can be kind, you can even be brilliant, but still, no one feels you. They hear your words, but not your soul. What if there's a way to make someone feel truly understood the moment you speak? Not with tricks, not with manipulation, but through a forgotten psychological key discovered by Carl Jung. This is not communication. This is connection. Most people think being heard is about speaking better, louder, smarter, more persuasive. But Jung saw it differently. He believed real understanding doesn't happen in words. It happens in the space between them, in the silence, in the glance, in the unspoken. And he uncovered a principle buried in his unpublished notes that reveals how to touch the deepest layer of another person's psyche, a principle he called the mirror of the unconscious. Dinery. People don't feel understood when you agree with them. They feel understood when you reflect what they can't say. Their fear, their longing, their hidden contradiction. He called this active reflection. Not repeating words, but naming the emotion underneath the words. For example, someone says, "I'm fine, just busy." Most people reply, "Yeah, life is hectic." But the person who makes them feel seen says, "It sounds like you're carrying something heavier than just work." That's not guessing. That's mirroring the unconscious. Rule 1, listen for the emotion, not the content. When someone speaks, ask yourself, what feeling is trying to emerge here? Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." So when a friend says, "I don't need anyone," the unconscious message might be, "I'm terrified of being abandoned." Say, "It sounds like you've learned to protect yourself from getting hurt." You're not fixing, you're not advising, you're reflecting. And in that moment, they feel seen. Rule 2, acknowledge what they deny. Jung believed every person has a shadow, the parts they hide. Weakness, jealousy, shame, secret dreams. Most avoid it, but connection happens when you gently name it. Example, a colleague says, "I don't care what people think." You respond, "You must have had to build a thick skin to get this far." You're not accusing, you're honoring the armor and the vulnerability beneath. That's how you bypass the ego and speak to the soul. Rule 3, speak in symbols, not just facts. Jung found that deep understanding happens through archetypes, universal patterns in the psyche. Instead of saying, "You're stressed," try, "It feels like you're carrying the weight of the hero who never gets to rest." Or, "You're not just tired, you're in the cave before the transformation." These aren't metaphors, they're psychological truths. And when someone hears their struggle framed as a sacred journey, they don't just feel heard, they feel honored. Rule 4, let silence do the work. After you reflect, stop. Don't rush to fill the space. Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves, but only if we're willing to sit in the quiet." When you say something true and they fall silent, that's not awkwardness, that's integration. The unconscious is speaking, and your silence gives it room to breathe. So here's your challenge. In your next conversation, don't try to impress, don't try to fix, just ask, what is this person really feeling? And then reflect it with kindness, with courage. Because the deepest human need isn't to be agreed with, it's to be witnessed. If this resonated with you, like this video, subscribe for more psychological and philosophical insights. And in the comments, tell me, when did someone make you feel truly understood? Your story might help someone feel less alone. We spend so much time learning how to speak, but the real power lies in learning how to listen, not just with the ears, but with the soul. Jung's lost principle wasn't about words, it was about presence, about becoming a mirror, not for the mask they wear, but for the self they hide. Because when you make someone feel understood, you don't just change the conversation, you change their world. Narrator, softly. This is Thinksy, where psychology meets the soul. Stay curious.